And realizing that we're in this together. There ain't no competition. I'm not trying to outdo you. You're not out, trying to outdo me. We're in this together. We're literally partners.
Right.
And when we realized how to respond and
not react.
And not react.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just,
Yo, welcome to another episode of More Than a Barber. I am your host, AP, and today we have a very special episode. I am incredibly excited about this episode today. I want you to buckle up. We got a very, very special episode for you. We got a husband and wife today. It's almost Valentine's Day, and I know y'all got some booze. Y'all got some plans. This is the content that you need to hear today. They have been married for a very long time. An amazing family, an amazing couple. I am a fan. Today, I wanted to bring Ronald and LaShawn Rogers to the episode. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Y'all
amazing.
Looking good, booed up, this shit. Yeah, man, I am so excited that you guys came on today.
Thank you for having us.
We've been trying to cook it up. We've been trying to plan, but we finally got it in the building.
That's right.
So how y'all doing?
We're doing good, battling with the kids. And I won't say battling, but just the busyness of our world with 4 boys, sports, jobs, all the things.
It's keeping y'all busy.
Yes.
Life is life, man.
Yes.
Okay. We're trying to navigate through this thing called life and this beautiful thing called marriage, but all is well. We have no complaints.
Man, I love that one. Yo, I am just mad excited today. I have been thinking about this episode, been trying to get you guys on. And today, it's going to be more like a masterclass. I want y'all to give the gems away. I mean, from top to bottom. Because we're living in a world today where marriages are failing, relationships are failing. Right. I'm not necessarily, I believe it's 50% of first-time marriages, they fail, right? And so I think you guys are a beacon of light when it comes to marriages. And we literally turn, conversations from the barbershop, or rather the barber chair, into episodes.
Yeah.
And so today, it's like, let's get them in. We're going to have a straight, solid conversation. So let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you guys meet? How long you've been married? Can you guys just literally walk me through the whole process? I'm excited to hear this.
So, this is that question.
We always get that question. And sometimes we have a different variation of responses. Because, there's sometimes just a clash of perspectives, or when we talk about this. So just long story short, just real quick, we've been married this July 18 years. Together 20 total, and it's been beautiful. We've had our ups and downs, our successes, our failures, but there's no other person I would want to do life with. It's been amazing. God is an awesome God, and He really has blessed our union. We met, man, I was 23, she was 21.
Okay.
We turned 21.
She had just turned 21. We actually met twice. The first time, because she was working at a payday loan company. At the time, I went with my roommate to get a payday loan. I stayed in the car.
Okay.
He went inside. It was a little storefront building with the glass all the way across. I see this beautiful woman walk across the counter. I said, man. I get out the car. I go holler at her, man. Just introduce myself to her. I'm sitting there flirting and everything. I thought she was just beautiful. There was something different about her. So I got her number, and she, wrote her number on a Post-it note. 2 numbers, her cell number and her home number. This was around October, November of 2003. Yeah.
I got you.
So this is around October, November 2003. I called that number day and night for weeks. Wow. Never responded, never talked to her, not one time. I said, you know what? Oh, well, maybe it's not meant to be. Coincidentally, fast forward to January of 2004, Baton Rouge Community College. I'm taking college algebra. I walk in there my first day of class. We're in the same class together.
I know you was like, it's all.
I said, man, it's her again.
Yeah.
So off and on, we talked, we dated, and there was just something different about this woman.
Wow.
Something different. And there was something different in the sense she didn't fall for games. She had standards. And as much as I tried to kick and scream at times because she made it so hard and so difficult for me, at the same time, there was just a thrill. I'm like, man, I've never had a woman with this many standards or standards of this magnitude. And it made me want her even more. And eventually, man, I made her my wife.
So it sounded like the chase was real.
It was. The chase was definitely
the chase was real. You called for weeks. She did. Walk me through that. How did that moment make you feel when you called? She gave you 2 numbers and she didn't answer.
Initially, I thought for sure, she gave me the wrong number, and then to add insult to injury, she gave me 2 wrong numbers. I'm like, dude, I mean, you could have just turned me down. You could have just turned me down and said, no, you're not interested. Yeah. Don't do it like that.
Yeah.
So I called both numbers for weeks. Never talked to her one time. So I thought, out of mind. It was history. We're done. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
And so that January, I was like, man, there she is again. I remember her. And so we got to talking, man. It just been a beautiful thing.
I love that. So you sound like you gave him the right number, but he just
did. Because I always say, back at that time, he wasn't really the committed.
Gotcha.
So he had little side pieces, So I said, no, you just mixed my number up with somebody else's number. You thought you were calling.
I got you.
So that's what I would tell him. But he most definitely did have the correct phone numbers, and it just happened the way it did, and we rekindled at the right time when it was supposed to be.
Wow. So for me, y'all energy is, after 18 years, y'all energy is amazing. Look, y'all not in the studio, but the energy is real here. And so for me, looking at your marriage and looking at how you guys do life with your family, I don't know if I even told Ronald this, but I watch him from a distance. And the way he's, teaching your sons, how to be men, and I look at how respectful they are, when they come to the barbershop, that whole piece. How is it raising 4 boys in a house? I mean, you the only girl in the house. You outnumbered big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Raising our 4 boys has been a blessing all the way around. We have our oldest who's 16. Our middle son who's 12, and then we have 8-year-old twins.
Gotcha.
And the twins were our try for our little girl that he and, I both wanted.
I got you.
God gave us boys. So that has taught us a lot. They have blessed us more than they have, than we've blessed, them to be their parents. But they've been such a blessing. We've learned a lot. Yeah. They've helped us to grow up and just the things. And it's always something, and they're constantly helping us to grow, but it's just been such a journey. We have our family nights. We have our nights where we gather. Yeah. We have prayer time. And we have discussion time. So that's the time with our boys where we pray, we do all of that, but then we hear from them. So that's their time. They have the floor that they can tell us.
That's amazing.
They tell us, and then they tell each other if there's any issues, anything that's made you sad, anything that you want to share, or what we can do. And we all just have this power wow moment. And it's things that they say, well, mommy, we don't like da-da-da-da-da. And daddy, we don't like da-da-da-da-da. This has made us sad. And we talk through those things and what that means. And then they share things with each other. Like, what does that mean? So it's fun, but it's also like humbling, because it's like, they're humans too. Sure. And also we are parenting and we're their parents, but we have to remember, oftentimes we have to step back sometimes and be like, they're humans too. Yeah. So they're learning how to express themselves to us, why they're upset. Yes. Because when they're upset and then we're upset and then we're yelling or we're upset, it doesn't solve anything. So it has been a journey. It's beautiful. It's fun. They are all characters. They have 4 different personalities, and it's just fun, and it's such a ride, and it's just been such a blessing.
It sounds like the house is just never a dull moment.
Never.
Never.
You're cracking up.
It's a reality show. There.
Yes.
Wow. Without a doubt.
Rob Rogers Unplugged. That's the reality show name right there.
Look.
It really is.
Yeah. And so, for me, I always tell this story that I grew up without a father in the home. And so I look at how beneficial it is for the father to be present, for even the mother for that matter. But in this case, you have 4 young men that will be leaders one day, that will be husbands one day, that will be, more importantly, they will have the loudest influence in their circle because of the culture that has been set by their parents. And so for me, looking at your marriage, I'm like, yo, we need to duplicate what y'all have because you guys are role models. And so what is it like having from my vantage point, a successful marriage? Like, I know it ain't peaches and cream. I know that, but you guys seem like you are attracting a lot of people who want what you have.
So I'll say this. One, God is definitely amazing. He's had his hand on our marriage the entire time. Again, 18 years this year, 20 years total. The reason I believe we have come to where we are now and our marriage is successful is because of the failures that we've had. You know, I can say that. And I think God honors our transparency. You know, when people talk to us, for whatever reason, it's happened organically over the years. We always find ourselves in a position of mentorship and counseling, you know, and helping other married couples for whatever reason. But we've been able to do that because we've had our battles. You know, we've been battle tested, you know, and we're willing to be transparent. So when we see people and they, you know, they give us the kudos about our marriage, you know, we tell them this is just a product, or it's polished right now, but you haven't seen the process, you know, and it's been an ugly process at times. And so we thank God for the successes, but those successes came because of the failures. And we were able to get through it early on.
So walk me through the other side of success. What has been some of the most challenging moments in your marriage that you can say, yo, we needed this. This was like a springboard to get you all where you are today, right? Like, can you just kind of unpack that? Because again, there are so many failed relationships, so many failed marriages, and it's not because they're bad. Possibly it could be because they don't have a blueprint, right? And it sounds like you all have something that is essentially the blueprint of what, you know, others need.
Absolutely. There's so many things I can say. Like our first couple of years, we did not know how to handle conflict. And it almost broke us, you know, financially. We were struggling. So every little thing turned into something big. And we were immature, you know, especially me being the head of my home and supposedly supposed to be the spiritual head. I was immature. I was arrogant. I was prideful. I expected my wife to submit to me, but at the time, I gave her nothing to submit to.
Wow.
So
hold on, you moving too fast. I like that. That's it right there.
But with that, we didn't know how to handle conflict. And our conflict at the time was, who's going to win this argument? It was never about being productive and trying to get to the root cause of what we're disagreeing about and sticking to that issue, but rather, I'm going to force my perspective on you. You're going to force your perspective on me. And man, we're going to battle this thing out until somebody wins. And it was almost a game. Like, who's going to win this argument? And we just had this conversation today. It never failed, man. God is so amazing. It never, ever failed. If there was just something clear that one of us was wrong, that Sunday at church, man, God placed on that pastor's heart, that message would be on our toes. I mean, it would be the conviction would be so strong, we would go home and almost laugh about it because then, you know, he was talking directly to me. Let me go ahead and get this right, because this situation here, this instance, it was me. This is my fault, but I see it, I get it. I'm sorry. Let's move past this. So over the years, we learned how to reconcile our differences quickly, move on, and not let conflict fester. You know, because we were big on silent treatment. We would go weeks without talking to each other. You know, and again, it was about who had the upper hand, who's gonna win this particular episode,
who's gonna fold.
And so we finally, you know, we matured. We matured and got past that, and we learned how to handle conflict in a productive and respectful manner. And we got to the point now, man, we barely argue. We'll have our disagreements, but we disagree with the level of humility. You know, let me hear your perspective. And here's the deal. If there's a situation where especially a decision that has to be made, you know, I'm the head of my home. And if we just can't agree, I'm going to go ahead and make a decision because I'm the head of my home. But God has blessed me with a wife that knows without a doubt, even though you may disagree with that decision, I do know that my husband will never make a decision that's not within the best interest of this family. If it works, we all eat good. We all get the credit. If it doesn't, I'm gonna take that blame. Hey, let's rethink this. What were you saying last time? Let's do this again. Let's have a redo.
So let's go back to, you know, you said when you first got married, y'all was boxing it out. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna make sure this is my house, and I'm sure you say, well, you gonna listen to me, Ronald, because I'm the woman of this house. I know it was up, but can you kind of walk us through at what point in your marriage where you guys said, wait, no, we passed the boxing. We've at a point to where now we can physically talk this out from a mature perspective, because it takes time to iron things out.
It does.
Two people coming together from two different back. Can you unpack that for us, just to kind of?
Oh yeah. So it was also communication too. You know, communication is another big thing that will tear a marriage apart. So that was a big thing as well. I think for us, one of the things were the word divorce. We contemplated it, maybe twice, 2-3 times.
2-3 times, yeah.
And it was just like, you know, we grew up together. We always say we actually grew up together because we were in our 20s.
Gotcha.
You know, we met, I had just turned 21. We actually got our wedding anniversary is my birthday. We got married on my birthday. Wow. So it's a 2-part celebration there. So I turned 23 on my birthday, you know, when we got married.
Yeah.
So we're still in the early 20s.
Gotcha.
We're growing, and, you know, it's like you get in an argument. Oh, I'm not doing this. You know, we about to cut this quick. We about to stop. We're not doing this. And it was always the support system that I had in my ear. I didn't have people in my ears like, girl, you need to leave him, or you need to do this. And he didn't have that either. But it was still, once we got back together, how are we going to figure this out and work this thing out? So it was just like, we would have like big arguments. And as we look back at it now, it was crazy.
Right.
And it was stuff that we easily could have fixed
Gotcha.
and been done with. But when you don't know and you're unlearned, it was just one of those hard things. But it was a big time back then, and we were contemplating divorce. And we actually found out we were pregnant with Cameron.
Whoa.
And we always said that Cameron and that pregnancy and that time,
it saved us
and brought us back. Because we were at when we found out, it's like, okay, when this baby comes, what are we doing? Because we got we got Trey.
Yep.
And we have Cameron who's coming.
Yeah. How
are we going to do this? You go take half. What are we doing? We were to those type of conversations. Right. What is this custody thing going to look like? And just figuring this, you know, thing out. It was, you know, and it was a tough time. Back in Louisiana, he was also running for office, you know, during this time. So it was a lot of stuff going on. And it just somehow through prayer and us trying to figure things out, God having his hand on us, we somehow figured that thing out during that pregnancy brought us closer together. When Cameron was born, it was like, we got to figure out what we're doing and fix this and get it together. And it's like from there, we just kept evolving. But that pregnancy and that child, we say that's what saved us. Saved us.
That is, I didn't know that story. I know I talk a lot in the barbershop, but that story is so profound, especially when it comes down to something like where you're rocky. You know, you're rocky. I hear a lot of times communication is the number one cause. Communication, finance, and then of course the physical piece. And so for me to hear how you guys navigated through that time, it gives a lot of people hope. Like, yo, if they could do it. I know it was tough.
It was.
I know it was tough. And when you say it was hard, and you had Cameron at that point, did everything kind of erase all the, or it was just like, look, we're gonna pivot from that piece. We're gonna mature past it, and look, these kids are the focus.
We had to be intentional. So these things had to be on purpose.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't anything that's going to happen organically, excuse me. We have to be intentional, and we have to work at it. And we finally realized at that moment, man, this is work. We don't have to do what we can to make this marriage work. It ain't gonna work by itself. And people have this fallacy that this marriage is gonna be a beautiful thing just because. No, it just doesn't work like that. You have to work to cultivate a relationship that you want. And the most pivotal moment of our marriage, or those early years, and thank God we had somewhat of a minimal spiritual foundation. We were going at it. It was bad, like bad, just argument after argument, disagreement after disagreement, disrespecting each other, you know, just talking down at each other, you know, just everything mentally, you know, just emotionally. And so there was this one night, we had just kind of had it. We going back and forth, this and that. I literally, because at that moment I was like, man, do you even care? You know, and that can hurt a man's pride, you know, just the perception of a woman, she's thrown in the towel. She knows she's not here, you know. And so we were in our bedroom. I remember like it was yesterday. I got so upset. I took the TV remote and threw it against my bed frame, the footboard, excuse me. And I dropped to my knees and cried. I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like I've run out of options. I don't know what to do. And I'm not a crier. I'm not an emotional guy at all. Yeah. Dropped to my knees and cried. And what happened next was nothing but God, nothing but humility. And it made me grow up, and it showed me how real God is and how his hand was on our marriage. But I dropped to my knees and cried, and my wife placed her hand on me and prayed for me.
Ooh. Yes, sir.
So that day, I'm like, man,
yes,
yes, sir. Literally, it was like God changed our marriage overnight. Because that moment of humility, that moment of vulnerability, God said, okay, you've done what you can do. Let me step in and do what I do.
Oftentimes I hear couples, they say, yo, we got to work this thing out. We've been arguing, we've been fighting. Even, the community that I'm a part of, I hear a lot when it comes to, yo, this is what we went through in our marriage. This is what we went through in our relationship. But it sounds like you guys obviously were meant to be, regardless of how much you have Mayweather on one side, you know what I'm saying? And you got, I don't know, Pacquiao on the other side. Y'all duking it out. But what I love and what I hear is that above all else, you sounds like you guys set your pride aside. You prayed and you got your answer in that moment.
We did.
How much does prayer play a part in your marriage? When it comes to,
it's the foundation, man. It's everything.
The core.
It is everything. We found ourselves finally realizing the simplicity of what we had to do.
Wow.
The harder we chase after God, the closer we grow to each other. Simple as that, because we're traveling on the same trajectory.
Gotcha.
We're going in the same direction, chasing after the same thing. So, I mean, the Bible says, how can 2 or 3 walk, unless they agree, and so again, if we're traveling down the same direction, chasing after the same prize, all we can do is grow closer together because we have the same faith, the same goal. We're our eyes on the same prize. And so we began to grow spiritually. We were intentional about our prayer life, praying together, and just so to answer your question, it's been everything.
Yeah. And realizing that we're in this together. There ain't no competition. I'm not trying to outdo you. You're not trying to outdo me. We're in this together. We're literally partners.
Right.
And when we realized how to respond and
not react.
I
love that.
It's just, because we would have an argument or he would say something and it probably wouldn't even be that big of a deal. But my reaction, my response took it to a whole nother level that it didn't even, have to be. But there's been instances like that with both of us. But when we realized and figured that out, it's like, okay, all I need to say is, okay, let's sit and talk about this.
Right.
I know I may be burning up in the inside, but okay, let me hear your part. And it's like you taking control of the situation instead of blowing up something that doesn't even have to be in the first place. And when we found out the magic of communication and how to handle stuff, it's like things just started evolving.
Right.
It's like, look at this.
I love that. You done hit a gem. You done figured it out.
It really was a light bulb moment. Yeah. It really was.
That's cool. Well, I kind of want to turn the corner. I mean, you guys have been together 20 years, married 18, been together the whole 20 piece, right? But what do you guys say in y'all moments by yourself when y'all see some of the relationship foolery you see today on social? Because Ronald said it. He said, man, marriage now is almost like, I'll give it like, it's like a Louis bag. It's like, I want that because it looked good in the moment.
Right.
It looked good on that person, so let me copy that particular person. And I like to say, you don't realize, you can't see the picture because you in the frame. I'll say it that way, right? You don't realize what goes on in this marriage to where it got to this point.
Yeah,
so what do you guys say? What's some of y'all conversations when y'all see reality shows, social media? I mean, it's a lot going on.
It's disheartening and just so unfortunate the way marriage has been devalued.
Yeah.
And people are these days are more in love with the idea of marriage rather than marriage itself.
Yes.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It sounds good to have a companion.
Sure.
But you're not willing to put the work in to sustain this, to make sure that this is forever. Make sure that those vows, that you're living those out. And so when you see these marriages, man, these fly by night, or they're just not doing what it takes to sustain a successful marriage, I'm like, man, it's very disheartening.
I see a lot.
Yeah.
I see a lot. I hear a lot. And when I say I hear a lot as a professional barber, there's so many conversations we have,
right,
that I listen to, and I'm like, yo, this can't be life. Wow. This can't be life in terms of what we see on social, what we see on even YouTube, for that matter. You see a lot of people, I like what you said, that they're in love with the idea of marriage. Like, I just want that. I don't want the work. I just want the image.
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't want, the hard times, the boxing it out, because it's going to be my way or the highway.
Right.
I just want what looks good on social media. And I know people like that.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I know people like that. I just want to get married and look good so I could post.
Yeah.
Because social media has derailed our framework as it relates to something that comes from substance. There's no substance in a lot of what we see, which is why I said I got to get this particular couple on here, because y'all solid. We got Valentine's Week coming, Valentine's Day, coming up. Yeah. I'm sure you guys got a lot of people asking y'all questions, and you said it's disheartening. But what is some of the things that you would say? What is some of the most frequently asked questions that I say that we're getting from couples, singles, married? And y'all like, man, everybody asking us this.
Most of the time, it's like, why? Or as if we have the answers and we don't, but it's like, man, why are the men like this, or why are the women like this, or what's going on? And they ask us different questions, and just as you said, social media has just derailed stuff so much, and there's no God also in these relationships, and they're going into it for the wrong reasons. And as a wedding and event planner, I'm seeing people being excited with the party, the spotlight,
the wedding.
I got it laid out. I got this, the best gown, the best this, and you're seeing and you're hearing all that. And then when I'm checking up on them, how's y'all doing? Oh, we're not together no more. What happened? You have all these people that witnessed this beautiful thing,
right?
And that's one thing that I pride myself on as a wedding and event planner. I'm worried about the couple. And not just I'm planning this, but I'm worried about the couple. What do you have? What is your foundation? Are y'all equally yoked? And are you together? Because you're seeing a lot of that. But a lot of the things that is on social media is just for social media. And people are hurting and going through stuff, but they're showing you all this, all these things. And a lot of the viewers they're idolizing that stuff.
Right.
And they're learning the wrong things. And it's so disheartening, and it's so much. And I'm seeing also a lot of people who are still unhealed, people who are still battling with things. Not that you're not gonna, grow and still, deal with things in your marriage or in your relationship, but people are coming into these relationships with just false hope, false narratives, and it's just wrong from the forefront.
Hey, what's up, great people? It's me, Pastor Ken. I pray that you all are just as excited as I am. By now, you probably have heard the news of what is taking place here right in the beautiful city of Dallas-Fort Worth. For the first time ever, I'm hosting something called the Entrepreneurs Faith Convention. February the 29th and March the 1st, you need to be in the room. Luke 6:38 says, "Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, shall men give back into your bosom." I don't know about you, but I have been in business for over 25 years. I have cut my teeth in a lot of industries. And so I want you to know that your boy, I've been through some trials and some tests. And so what I'm planning to do is get entrepreneurs in the Dallas-Fort Worth in the same room. We're going to talk about strategy. We're going to talk about application. We're going to lean into some of your current frustrations and even help ensure that you're reaching the right client so you can finally be paid your worth and your value. So listen, I want you to do me a favor. Go to exploreefc.com and get registered. We are literally about 20 days away or so from this epic event that is taking place once again in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Entrepreneurs Faith Convention. It's the place where God is going to take center stage in your business. We're going to do everything we need to make sure you get to where you desire to be. Get registered.
So let me ask you this. I have a question. I think that in our today's society, we see a lot of people who are chasing relationships. They're chasing marriage. Do you think people go into marriages thinking that the marriage is going to heal their brokenness?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And I know that's loaded, but I mean, it's like, what do you guys think?
I do. I'm going to say yes. I think people have this idea that marriage is the answer to all of their problems.
Okay.
Their loneliness, their brokenness, the places where they need to heal.
Yeah.
And if you have those things that have been unaddressed,
yes,
it's just going to magnify itself and exacerbate itself in your marriage.
Wow.
And it could lead to just catastrophe. Especially if you have someone, your husband or your wife, who is matching you with that same level of brokenness, that same level of trauma, that same level of issues that they're bringing into. So when you have two things that are out of order and you bring that together, you just have a disorderly situation.
That's right.
Yeah. They said money only intensifies who you really are.
Right.
Will you agree that this is the same applies to what you're sharing? If you guys are coming together broken, it's only going to intensify what's already there, especially if you're trying to hide it.
Yeah. I believe so. I do agree with that. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So for me, this is a pivotal moment for our culture. It's like, relationship goals, hashtag Valentine's Day. Yeah. We see a lot of that on social, and I'm not opposed to it, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it goes back to what we talked about. That is what's derailing people. Mm-hmm. It's like, they're hashtagging relationship goals.
Right.
And I made a pact with my own self. I said, I don't want the relationship that people hashtag.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a highlighted reel of what it is that you want me to see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good.
But behind the reel,
I want to see what that is.
Man, Pacquiao and Mayweather, mm-hmm. right? They thumping it out. They going at it. And I've seen this. I had an episode with my co-host Mo, and she said she's an entrepreneur. She has a tour business, and what she said was she know people that rent luxury cars from her, and then go and rent peer space. These are like, you can rent mansions. They rent these particular houses and cars, and they do photo shoots and video shoots to make you and I think that they're living this lifestyle that really doesn't exist. Wow. Do you know how much work it takes?
That's a lot of work.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot, but that's where we are today.
We live in a culture where people are more in love with the symbol of having money than actually having money and having wealth. So to translate that to marriage, we live in a culture where people are more in love with painting the perception that I have a beautiful marriage than actually working on having a beautiful marriage. Mm-hmm. It's too much work. So let me just put the perception out there because I want validation from everybody else. I'm more in love with likes and clicks and followers as opposed to making sure this thing is tight.
Right. And it's the look. Of course, when you're happy and things are, we love, when we're together, we may take some pictures. We may post something from date night or whatever, but those things come with time.
Right.
But people will see that and be like, oh, I want to be booed up. Oh, I want to go eat some, they see all of those things with, yes, of course.
You don't know the background.
You do want to have those, you want to spend those times, you want to have all that, but they're not thinking about what's on the back end. We could have just had maybe a little powwow in the car. Yeah. But you know what? We finna go up in here, we finna get us a glass of wine. We about to eat the steak.
I love it.
We go pray over our food.
That's right.
And we're gonna talk about whatever it was, or if it ain't that, we just
it's analogous to you see these star athletes. Mm-hmm. You see a LeBron. You see a Kobe. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
You see a Ja Morant. You see it the way they perform on the court, and you have other young aspiring athletes. I want to be just like that. I want to play the game just like that. Mm-hmm. But what you don't see is the process that they went through. The long days, the early mornings, the late nights. Yeah. The grind, when they were making sacrifices and doing things that other guys just wasn't willing to do.
I love it.
Missing, entertainment and just missing a lot of things because they were working on their craft to get to where they are, And so same thing with marriages, man. You see, okay, I want a marriage just like that. We've had people tell us that. But are you willing to go through the process? It was an ugly process at one
it's
time.
A question that we turn back because we want a marriage or y'all are goals. Okay, well, what does that mean? What do you see in us that's making you say that? Because are you just seeing like, oh, us being nice to each other and the things that are pleasant? Because you're not in our home at night. Sure. So when you say those things, what do you mean by that?
Wow. Now let me ask you this: what are their responses? Because I know you guys get a ton of. Listen, if you're streaming tonight and you're watching this episode, I want you to do me a solid. You need to go and follow them because they have an incredible story, an amazing Rogers Unplugged. Listen, these are my idols. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you out. But I would say, what are some of the things that people are saying to you guys, and what are their responses? Because you get a ton of them. I know you do.
All the time.
We get all kind of questions, all kind of responses. Oh, I love y'all. I love the marriage you have. That's what I want. Y'all are marriage goals. How do you make it work? What do you do? I want what you guys have. And there's nothing wrong with wanting what we have, but are you willing to put the work in to get what we have?
And to keep it,
and point blank, some people are just not willing to do that. Some people are not willing to put the work in and do what you need to do to make sure that this is successful. I had to humble myself. I had to rid myself of arrogance. I had to drop my pride. I had to realize if I'm going to make this work, I have to be a man. I can't be a little boy trying to lead a family. And at one time I was. Good God. I was a grown man. I was a little boy in a grown man's body, calling myself a husband, trying to raise children. And I hadn't grown up. Wow. And so once I realized that, like, man, I just got to do better. You have to put the work in.
Yeah.
There's no shortcut to it.
No, there's no shortcut. Success. There's a book by John Maxwell. I read it. It's called Failing Forward. It's a game changer. It talks about how failing is not necessarily the bad thing.
That's right.
It's not.
Right. But it's how you fail forward.
Right.
Are you being, comfortable in your failure? Because we see that, right? I'm sure y'all see that. But it's like, I'm cool here. We ain't gonna get past this point. But in that book, he highlights how you have to fail forward. You have to fail forward. So
it's so good.
Yeah, I think it's called Failing Forward. John Maxwell. I'm a John Maxwell. That's shout out to John Maxwell. but this is a perfect segue. So you guys have a lot of people that you coach indirectly. I'm not calling y'all relationship coaches or anything like that. And by the way, we have a culture now where everybody's a coach. Everybody is a relationship coach. Everybody has master classes, but you guys actually did the work. You guys have receipts. Like you got real receipts. And so with that, you guys have something that y'all doing. It's an event. I kind of know a little bit about it, but I want you to kind of talk to us about it, especially since you guys is the GOAT when it comes down to marriage.
So and we'll be the first to tell you, we are not relationship experts. Okay. We're not marriage experts. We're not therapists. We're not licensed. We're not any of that. Okay. But what we are is a strong union. We've gotten to the point where we know that our marriage is unbreakable. It can't be penetrated. We've gone through the storm, come out on the other side.
That's right.
And so we have something to give back to people. Yeah. But at the same time, when we're doing that giving back, we also help ourselves to continue to grow. So it's not just for you, it's for us as well.
Absolutely.
And so we ran from it for a long time. Again, it was, just organic, and people always managed to find us. Hey, we're going through this situation, and we just found ourselves in a position of mentorship, in a position of counseling, or hey, come talk to me and my wife, man. Sure. Let's sit down and chop it up. What are you going through? Well, this is what we did, and I think more than anything, people respected our transparency. Yeah, we never presented ourselves as this level of perfection. Yeah. We've never done that. We'll tell you, man, we had some skeletons. We went through. Yeah, and so when people hear that, man, you serious? Like, yeah, dude, yes.
Like they shocked at y'all.
Y'all, man, yes, if you only knew. It was right there. I called my dad and said, man, Dad, I'm done. Wow. I don't want her anymore. I want a divorce. I called my dad and told him that. Well, we were about 3-4 years in. I said, man, I'm done with this, man. I didn't sign up for this. It was so bad, but I kid you not, just a moment of transparency. I told my dad, I'm so checked out right now. If I walked in on my wife with another man, I would not care.
Oh my God.
I was so checked out.
It was deep.
But we were there.
Hold on,
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Ronald. That you can't talk past that.
I'm serious.
And I know
man.
we're trying to get into what you guys got going on, but that is heavy.
It is.
That is for you to say something of that magnitude. That means whatever was going on, you had it to through the roof.
I was so checked out that in my mind, it was almost like I was conjuring up something. I hope to catch that, so to give me a reason to not be the bad guy. That's my exit. So if it happened, you know what? We got a divorce because of this, as opposed to just we can't reconcile things. And that's like I said, just me being transparent and being real. But man, God is good, man. I had to grow up.
People say like, how? Really? Why? Like, yeah, this is real. We're not out here proclaiming to be anyone that we're not.
Right.
This is real, uncut, and truly Rogers Unplugged.
It is.
And this is what it is. You know, we
Go ahead. And that's where the unplugged came from. We're like, you know what? Let's let it all hang out. We've been transparent. People are broken. People need help. And we finally realized, man, this is our ministry.
It is.
Yeah.
This is not anything but us trying to pour into people, but at the same time, we want to continue to grow.
Yeah.
That's it.
And like you said, we kept getting away from it. It kept coming.
Yep.
And it's like, what? Us? Oh. And it'll be a situation where God will just put it back in the forefront for us and just kept bringing it to us. And it was like, this time, it's like something said, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Wow. You're blessing people. You're blessing marriages, because it's not just married couples, but it's for the dating, the singles, the newlyweds, the engaged, and what that really means, and everything in between, because you're going to have all the stuff. So as you follow us, if you're new to who we are, you can check us out on Instagram and Facebook, Rogers Unplugged. We have some great things coming up, and it's really just a platform to be a blessing, to pour into you as you, our followers, are pouring into us. But it's everything in between. We're going to get into things of financial literacy. We're going to talk about intimacy. We're going to talk about raising a family, starting a family, parenting, relationship with God, and all of those things in between. So just stay tuned, and we got some good things coming up.
So this event, you got it. What's the date? What y'all got going? Yes. I'm trying to hear this. I want them to be a part of it as well.
Yeah. So we have officially launched our platform, Rogers Unplugged, and our launch event will be Saturday, March 23rd, 7:00 p.m. At City Works in Frisco, Texas. But stay tuned. Tickets go on sale Monday, February 5th. We're going to have some, announcements and great things coming up. We're going to have some live segments also on social media with all of our panelists. But it's going to be a night of love, transparency, transformation, fun, food, giveaways, all types of things. So stay tuned. It's going to be great.
And stay tuned, because y'all going to get a preview of a panelist that's going to be joining us that you're somewhat familiar with.
You may have heard his name a time or two. Stay tuned as well.
But listen, the energy in the room tonight, I can't wait to be a part of this event.
We're excited.
I'm excited. I can feel the excitement. I just can't wait. And I when you were talking about the things that you guys are doing and how you are being transparent, all I kept feeling while y'all were talking is y'all ain't even ready for what's about to happen. Y'all literally have to get prepared for what's about to happen. It's almost like you're planning for something small, something that you are comfortable with. It's about to happen. It's going to be bigger than what you see. And here's the thing, and this, I just feel this for real. And here's the thing, it's overdue. And I would argue some of the things that have been happening was because I felt like God has been trying to bend you into this, because there's so many people waiting for you guys and to hear what's in your mouth. And so I'll stop there. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Hadn't we gone through the fire?
For sure.
We wouldn't be able to have this platform to speak and to share these experiences. Right. So this has just been a blessing all the way around.
And I would also say that we finally realized what was at stake. marriage was the first institution God created.
Yes, it was.
A strong marriage leads to a strong family, and you have a strong family, everything else falls into place. Everything. And the reason why we are in the condition we are in now as a nation, as a world, because of broken families, which point back to broken marriages. You get that in check, man. You'll see lives change. You'll see nations change. Ooh. And so we realized that what was at stake, and
it's major.
You know, we're gonna touch who we can touch.
I cannot wait. And one of the things I wanted to say too is it's a privilege. That pressure is a privilege. Like if you got pressure, that means there's something on the other side,
right?
A diamond, something, you know. And so I am just overjoyed. Thank you for coming to be a part of More Than a Bar. This is amazing. Yes, y'all dope. I mean, y'all dope. I see why people like, yo, I want to be with y'all. What y'all got? Right. And so closing remarks, what would you say to singles out there that's like, yo, I feel the energy. You know, I'm driving in the car or I'm cooking dinner for my children. What will you say to those that are single that desire their promise? What will you say to them?
Continue to wait. Continue to cultivate who you are, your spiritual growth. Don't settle. You know, never, ever lower your standards. God is going to honor that. And I believe every one of us has a person that God has personally crafted just for us. So don't change. Don't compromise. And that person's going to come. Just be patient. Don't try to go out there and make things happen for yourself. Wow. And don't be so in love with the thought of marriage, the thought of companionship, that you're willing to do anything to go get it.
Oh, that's good.
You know,
that's good.
Just chill. Just wait. It's going to come. It's going to happen. That's good. I know being single these days is kind of in an awkward place, you know, culturally.
Discouraging.
But man, God is faithful. God is going to do what he said. Again, he told Adam, you know, I'm going to make Adam a helpmeet. You know, it's not good that man should be alone.
That's right.
That one implication tells us that Adam had an assignment, but that assignment could not be complete without that woman by his side.
Ooh.
Period.
Wow.
We got to get a part 2, man. That's loaded.
Yes. And
Sean,
know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, while you're waiting and you're going through your healing and the things that you're working on, just be patient with yourself and allow God to orchestrate that thing, and don't try to do it yourselves. Get out of the way, work on yourselves, and know what you're bringing to the table. Because when you know what value you have and who you are, and you love yourself, you have all those things that you're bringing into the relationship, and into that together, it'll be unbreakable. But magical, be patient, and just allow yourself to allow God to be a part of that.
That's right.
Yo, there you have it. Listen, this has been another episode of More Than a Barber. This is the Rogers Unplugged. Make sure you go follow them, and we out. Let's go. Hey, yo, check this out. If you like this episode, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe down below. We got amazing content coming your way. Stay tuned for more. Let's go.